All right, so you're ready to fly a drone in Japan? You've come to the right place. This is going to be your essential checklist for doing it safely and, just as importantly, legally. It doesn't matter if you're a professional photographer or just flying for fun. Getting this right is your ticket to the sky. So, let's get into it.
You know, it's pretty incredible. When you open up the official government manual on drone safety, it doesn't start with a stern warning. It starts with this phrase, the industrial revolution of the sky. And they are not kidding. Drones are already transforming, well, everything, from agriculture to filmmaking. They promise to solve huge social challenges and fundamentally change our economy. It's an absolutely exciting time to be a pilot.
But of course, with all that potential comes some very real risks. We've all seen the headlines, right? Drones causing major international airports to shut down, accidents that threaten people's lives, and that's exactly why these rules exist. This isn't just about compliance, it's about everyone's safety. Understanding this stuff is your first and most important job as a pilot.
Okay, so before you even think about powering on those rotors, let's cover the absolute essentials. These are the critical steps you have to take before your drone even leaves the ground.
First up, what even is a drone in the eyes of Japanese law? Well, the magic number you need to remember is 100 grams. If your unmanned aircraft, and that includes the battery, weighs 100 grams or more, then congratulations, it's legally a drone. That means all the rules we're about to discuss apply to you. If it's under 100 grams, it's considered a model aircraft, which has a simpler set of rules.
Now for the paperwork part. There are 3 steps here that are completely non-negotiable for every single pilot. First, register your aircraft with the government. It's a pretty simple process, and that registration is good for 3 years. Second, your drone has to have a remote ID function. Think of it like a digital license plate that's always broadcasting its registration info. And third, for what's called a specific flight, we're talking about things like flying near airports, at night, or over crowds, you must submit a flight plan beforehand using the official online system.
Okay, with the pre-flight checks out of the way, let's get to the real core of the regulations, the fundamental rules of where and how you're allowed to fly. The easiest way to remember all this is to break it down into 2 simple categories, where you can fly and how you can fly. So unless you get special permission, you absolutely cannot fly around airports 150 meters or higher above the ground and over what are called densely inhabited districts, or DIDs. Then there are rules for how you fly. Again, without permission, you can't fly at night, you can't fly beyond your direct line of sight, you can't get closer than 30 meters to people or property, and you definitely can't fly over big events or crowds. These are the default no-go zones and actions unless you get specific approval. Let's take a closer look at that 150-meter altitude limit, because this is a common mistake. People often think it's measured from sea level. It is not. The law is very specific. It's 150 meters measured from the ground or the water directly beneath your drone. This is absolutely critical in hilly or mountainous areas where your ground level can change really fast.
And what about that 30-meter rule? Well, think of this as your safety buffer. You have to maintain at least a 30-meter distance from any person or any property that's not associated with your flight. It doesn't apply to you or your crew, but for any third party, a random person walking by, a car, a building, you have to keep that distance. And this is so important because even a small drone falling from that height can cause serious injury or damage. This buffer is all about protecting everyone on the ground.
Now, let's talk about how all this goes beyond just following a list of rules. It's really about building the right mindset and truly embracing the responsibilities of being a pilot. The law isn't just a list of things you can't do. It's a framework for a professional attitude.
This slide really gets to the heart of what it means to be a safe pilot. It's more than just regulation, it's a code of conduct. Human safety is always number one. Never ever skip your preparations. Respect nature and the weather, and know your own limits. Don't push your luck. And you know what? Have the courage to cancel a flight if conditions just aren't right. It is so much better to avoid danger than to test your ability to get out of it. From takeoff to landing, the responsibility for that flight is entirely yours. Look, your drone might have all sorts of incredible tech, obstacle avoidance, GPS, all kinds of advanced features. But at the end of the day, those are just tools. The pilot, that's your judgment, your awareness, and your decisions. You are the most important safety feature of any flight. But because pilots are human and because technology can fail, even the most perfect preparation can't eliminate every single risk. So we need to talk about what you must do if an accident does happen. If there's an incident, your response has to be immediate and in order. Step 1, people. Immediately check for injuries and provide aid.
Forget the drone for a second. Step 2, prevent further danger. Secure the aircraft, disconnect the battery if it's safe to do so, and handle any other risks like a fire. And finally, step 3, report. You need to contact the police and any other necessary emergency services, and then you are legally required to report the incident to the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport, and Tourism.
The consequences of an accident are serious, and they fall into 3 different legal categories. First, there's criminal liability. If your negligence causes injury or death, you could face huge fines or even imprisonment. Second, civil liability. You're responsible for paying for any damage you cause to people or property. And third, administrative liability. The government can issue a warning, suspend your pilot certificate, or even revoke it entirely for violating the Aeronautics Act. The stakes are just incredibly high.
So as we wrap up, the most important thing to take away from all this is simple. Flying a drone in Japan, whether it's for work or for fun, is not just a hobby. It's a serious responsibility, on par with operating any other vehicle in a public space. We started this whole thing with that big idea of a sky-based industrial revolution. Well, the rules we've just covered are the foundation of that revolution. They ensure that this powerful technology can grow safely and with the public's trust. So the final question is for you. Now that you know the rules of the road, or the rules of the sky, what new, amazing things are you going to create in this incredible new era?